Once everyone left, her artificial gravity collapsed like a house of cards. Her fingers trembled as she reached for the canvas. "How did you know?" she whispered. "How did you know that something inside me is dying too?" Sebastian set down his brush. "An artist doesn't just see colors, princess. He recognizes the emptiness behind them. Your eyes tell me you haven't cried in a long time." That afternoon, they were no longer a princess and a painter. Adelaide sat on the ground, shedding her iron armor for the first time. Sebastian showed her how new buds can grow, even amidst dead branches. Adelaide laughed out loud that day, the sweetest sound heard within those walls in 20 years. She realized Sebastian's brush was bringing color not just to the canvas, but to her gray life. Their secret meetings began. Every night after her royal duties were done and the palace slept, Adelaide would slip into the greenhouse. Sebastian taught her how to paint stars in the darkness. They shared the wounds of their hearts. Sebastian promised, "As long as I have a brush in my hand, I will protect you from this cruel world." As their love blossomed, Adelaide had to become even more cruel outwardly. She knew if her father ever suspected she had fallen for a soft-hearted man, Sebastian would die that very night. One morning in court, she poured wine over one of Sebastian's paintings and threatened to whip him, calling him worthless. That night, she wept uncontrollably in the greenhouse, holding his hand. "Sebastian, forgive me. Today I destroyed your beautiful creation with my own hands. I am so afraid that one day, to save you, I will have to commit an even greater sin." Sebastian held her trembling hand with his paint-stained ones. "Princess, what does it matter if a canvas is ruined? Your true form is painted inside my heart, and no one can tear that away." He then pulled her head onto his shoulder. In the silence, only their heartbeats could be heard. She whispered, "Everyone waits for my orders, but I only live for the sound of your breath. Outside this greenhouse, I am a cruel shadow, but here I am just your Adelaide." At that moment, Sebastian took a silver ring from his pocket. It was not gold or jewels, but simple silver on which he had engraved a small budding flower. He placed it on her finger. "This is not a royal ornament. It is a part of my soul. When you must be stoned before your father, just touch this ring. Remember, somewhere there is someone who worships your gentle soul." That intimate moment was like the silence before a storm. Sebastian touched her face, and behind the royal makeup, a terrified teenage face emerged. He kissed her forehead and said, "If this world does not let us be together, I will immortalize you in every one of my canvases. There will be no king, no rule, only you and your free smile." Hidden in his chest, Adelaide felt the heavy boots of the guards outside. Sebastian wiped her tears and handed her a small sketchbook. "In this are the smiles you hid for fear of the world. If I ever cease to exist, turn these pages. You will see I am right beside you." Alaric set a trap. On the night of October 18th, he ordered all lights extinguished. As Adelaide headed for the greenhouse, torches suddenly flared. Alaric and his army surrounded them. His laughter shook the palace. "A love between a gardener and a princess? This is an insult to my nobility." He ordered Sebastian's immediate arrest. Alaric knew the best way to break Adelaide was mentally. Sebastian was chained to a damp wall. Alaric handed Adelaide a whip, and said coldly, "If you do not strike him, my soldiers will hit him 10 times more for every time you hesitate." As her trembling hand landed the first blow, the cry of her heart was louder than Sebastian's scream of pain. Every strike scarred her own soul. Days passed without food for Sebastian. She was told he would be fed only if she agreed to marry a cruel king of a neighboring land. Even half dead, Sebastian whispered, "Adelaide, do not give in." She couldn't bear his slow death. On a foggy night, she drugged the guards and bribed them with her jewels to get the keys. As she untied him, Sebastian had no strength left. "Go, Sebastian, escape through the secret door to the forest. I will handle everything." But he held her hand tightly. "I will not take a single step into this hell without you. It is more honorable to die by your side than to live alone." They escaped the palace together into the darkness. They rode for the border, but Alaric's spies were swift. Just as they felt the breath of freedom, Alaric's haunting horn sounded. Hundreds of torches and hooves shook the earth. Alaric stood at a narrow pass with his archers. "Again the same mistake, Adelaide?" he mocked. "I would have let you go, but you chose to mix my blood with the dust for a gardener." Sebastian was dragged from his horse. They were captured, and the punishment would be worse than ever before. On that red October 18th, a gallows was built for Sebastian. But first, Adelaide had to endure a living hell. Alaric and the king tortured her. She was kept starved and beaten. When they drove iron nails into her palms and broke her legs, she only said one thing: "Let Sebastian go." Alaric gave a cruel condition. If she married the notoriously cruel king of the neighboring realm, Sebastian's life would be spared. He would be imprisoned for life instead of hanged. To keep him breathing, she signed the contract of a hellish marriage. As she was taken away, bloody and broken, Sebastian was thrown into the darkest dungeon. When he heard she had married another, his artist's heart shattered. He didn't know she was drinking poison every moment just to keep him alive. In unbearable agony, Sebastian chose to end his own life. He didn't want her to be a slave to another for his sake. When the news of his death reached Adelaide, the last string of her mind snapped. She went completely mad. The cruel king imprisoned her in a small, dark room for life. Years later, when enemies conquered Silverthorn, they found a skeletal woman in that damp cellar. Her hair had turned grey, and her palms bore deep scars from the iron nails. They freed her out of pity, but Adelaide was already a prisoner of her own mind. Now the elderly Adelaide wanders the corridors of the ruined palace. There is a limp in her walk from the old broken leg that never healed properly. She stops often, as if someone is calling her behind. She has forgotten Alaric's laughter and that cruel wedding night, but whenever she sees a gardener, her blurry eyes sparkle. She asks, "Are you digging the soil? Be careful, someone's dreams might be buried there." Often she stares at her palms. The scars of the nails remind her of pain, but she cannot remember the cause. She only whispers, "He said he wouldn't leave without me, but he has gone. Where has he gone?" In the ruins of Silverthorn, there is no longer any royal nobility. Only when the autumn wind blows through the broken glass of the greenhouse does a whistling sound emerge. The locals say it isn't the wind, it is Adelaide's long sigh, still searching for her painter. Today, when Erica sees the elderly Adelaide amidst the ruins, she is but a shadow. Her dementia is a strange blessing from God. She has forgotten the sting of the iron nails and the pain of her broken bones. She only remembers the colorful afternoons in the greenhouse. She thinks Sebastian is still painting in the garden. When Erica holds the silver ring before her, Adelaide whispers, "Has Sebastian finished his colours? Tell him I am coming."